Good morning. Okay, I just wrote a little bit this morning, what came into my mind. I'm still waking up. But I find this time in the morning is my best time to just write down and express what's coming through. And basically what I've spent the last 3 or 4 years like writing lots of stuff down, writing things as they come through. And I have a lot of kind of content and concepts and ideas, and over time, like things I've experienced, I see like how things maybe can fit together, or how they flow out. Like, there'll be a concept and then like something will happen around that, and then I can see more clearly like how that concept would actually play out in reality, if you get what I'm saying. I just woke up this morning with basically like what's Revivement Village. So I think I'm just going to start doing a series of videos, like just going over everything of what I've written, and instead of it just being in one plan, trying to get something logical on paper, which I am going to try and do as well, or I'm going to do as well. But basically just to talk about it, and so I'll shut up and start doing that. Shall I? So Revivement Village. Revivement, not retirement. So revivement is somewhere we go to come back to life, not somewhere we go to retire. And I had a little flash just before I started recording, and you see it in Bali here, like in our traditions, like old people weren't put in a retirement village to just go away and die. Like old people have a lot to offer young kids, like and like part of the joy of being old should be being able to spend time with your grandkids, to be in your community, like, enjoy the fruits of what you've lived your life and worked and done all that for. So I guess I'm talking about old people as well, because my focus is on young people, my daughter having a disability, but also like I want to be able to be somewhere where I can age and die gracefully, and there's no way I can afford to go to a retirement village. Like every time I open Westpac internet banking, it says, can you afford to retire? I'm like, But it's kind of this concept of like, there's levels. There's going to be care workers there. There's an ability to have aged care as well. It's all about involving the local community, having a development where there's like 3 parts. You've got the local community, an organisation that's like overseeing and running things, like a linkage organisation between the local community and then the international constituent or whatever, like people that come from overseas. The concept behind it, this meeting of, I guess, cultures in Asia, is like people here still have access to their land, and they have lots of time, but they don't have resources, they don't have money. Like basically the Western World Bank and all that sort of stuff controls money. So, if you're born in a village here, like it's not like you can just go down and get a job at the shop and it's not tied into the world economy. It's like, and the money that does come here, it's like a dribble, like, and the currency is so low valued devalued, that people are really working for a tenth of what we work for in Western countries. So part of this is also making more equality, like more equal access to something that everyone as a human being has a human right to. We in the West don't have access to land. We have this big barrier around, money and finding a place that's affordable. Whereas in the Eastern and in Bali, in Asia, like, they have money, they have time, they have access to land, but they don't have the resources and finances to be able to start something. So this is about it being like a business or a charity, like a cooperative. It's really a cooperative that enables in-kind contribution as well as business, charity, with the coordination. So which coordinates between the local share ownership and the international people that can buy in and purchase the service, and then people that are contributing in kind ways as well, which could also be international. Like if you're going through what I write, or what I'm going to talk about later, a big constituent is, I guess, people in my generation and the younger generation who may be qualified, like as professional in some way, but we are unable to buy into anywhere at the prices that things are now in our own countries. Like a lot of people have become global nomads, and this kind of enables people to contribute in an in-kind way, but where their services or their professional skills are valued as a form of in-kind contribution. So there is like a commitment made, like an agreement made, and you can basically earn a share through doing what it is that you do. And overall that's going to save money for the community. If they were to pay like outsource that or pay a contractor. I haven't done yoga yet, just thought I'd wake up and talk about this and see how it goes. I'll try and do another version after I've done yoga and see how that goes. But the main, what do you call it? Maybe I should have done yoga. The main premise is that it's non-commercial. Like, it's not about international investors coming in and, getting like a return on their investment. Like, basically the people in the community are the investors, whether you're investing financially or through in-kind or with the local community. Like, with the local community and say, like, for services, like, there can be employment for and training for care staff, gardeners, school aides, teachers, holistic therapists, housekeepers, kitchen and restaurant staff, building and maintenance people, and also with craft production and with transport. Like, the local wages and stuff here are very low, like, people have enough to survive from it, but it's not like what we would expect, being able to pay school fees for your kids, or afford to maybe once a year repaint your house, or just that sort of thing. And I know from my experience in Asia, if you pay people a lot more, they're just going to end up spending it. And sorry, I don't know if that sounds judgmental, but like, it's not about, like, I think the wage should be improved, but with say things like craft production, like, if there can be local cooperatives, like sub-businesses managing those things, then like, the fee can be more, but half of that goes to a local organisation that's helping improve the welfare and services of that community. So maybe instead of the money being wasted or something, like it can go to an organisation which they already have established, like the local Banjar and that type of, the local Banjar is the main one. Whether it would work through that, I don't know. I haven't discussed directly with people here, but we could talk about that, like having some committees for, like helping improve the facilities of a local school, hiring another teacher, just getting better resources for schools. And as a non-commercial model, it's operated at a community level. So there's still like fees and a CEO, but that CEO person is basically chosen by the members. So as a collective of the three groups, from the yayasan or business and the international body, like the CEO would be under watch from from the members, so there would be permanent staff, like from the local community. There'd be employment at a general local level, and but that would be like a working group as well, which looks after the whole community. And so not only would the international, constituent be benefiting from that, but so would the local community. And that's what I notice a lot in Asian countries, like developments coming in. It's like all the wealth, all the good stuff, all the cream and everything is like only for enjoyed by the foreigners, whereas the locals just, their standard of living doesn't really change at all. So for example, say like with staff employed in gardening and farming, that would be just like a normal local wage to do that. But I guess because if you increase the wage too high, also there'd be like other people wanting to get those jobs coming from other towns or areas, when we really want to keep it very local. So there would be the basic, it's like a retainer wage, like how we have retainer wages. And then from the produce, that would be shared. So say half would go to the restaurant, to the cooperative or the cooperatively run business that runs the restaurant. Perhaps half would be, or percentage would be, able to be taken home by the staff themselves, or they would, just get subsidised food from the restaurant. That's all stuff that can be worked out on an individual basis. If the staff are being paid, like one of the ideas I thought of for in Australia with community farming would be if staff are being paid to care for people with disabilities doing community activities like on a farm. So say there would be a community business for people with disabilities. Maybe it's growing flowers, or maybe it's herb production, or whatever it is. So those staff are being paid in an Australian context to guide and assist people with disabilities, supervise the activities. So in that case, like, that is all to do with the community business of people with disabilities. So in that case, like, they wouldn't be taking a percentage of the produce because they're being paid for a job like helping people with disabilities. They're as an assistant to run that business. So there's a bit of a difference with the local case here, because the people being employed in farming and also getting training with organic farming, we'd be doing property management planning for the whole sort of community area. Like, people are, doing that and working on that every day. So whether it's a there be a area that's the general farm area, or whether like local people who have areas of land want to combine that and put it into the cooperative, so then they're being paid for the produce that from start to finish, but plus they can take a percentage. I don't know, it's still kind of like there's different possibilities on what's fair, but yeah, the general concept is like we're paying the local farmers to stay on their land, to produce vegetables, organic fruit and vegetables for the community. They are either sold to the restaurant or the percentage goes to the restaurant, and then that gives us a really yummy organic food base from which to feed people that are coming from overseas, because you can't really do your own farming there when you're coming from overseas. But but it's, yeah, they're not just only being paid a local wage, they're either getting a percentage or they get like, you know, very staff discounted prices in the restaurant, and maybe they take a percentage home as well of the produce and they can sell that in their local market. There's some different options there. The idea is to move away from the commercial model and create something that's more like a real village where, there's different responsibilities in different areas, but yeah, it's not like this sort of service kind of hotel, you know, like feeling that that we have in the West, like in most places. It's more like, you know, coming to someone's home, staying in a homestay, or, you know, it's coming back to your home, but it's in an environment where it's more like a village where you sit down together, you eat meals. You know, it's not this sort of like thing of being served by someone that, that we sort of seems prevalent in Western cultures. Like, I spent a lot of time in Asia, and it was really, and I really enjoyed just sitting with local families, being part of a family, eating together. So when I came to Bali and then stayed, it was actually here when I stayed here when I first came here, like the and Doppler, like stayed down in the kitchen when we were eating. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why aren't we sitting together and eating? It's like, I felt really weird. It felt, really weird. So, I much prefer just feeling that, you know, if my kids can play with their kids, like, you know, they're looking after Freyr. It's not like, I don't know, I guess South Africa or something like that. It's like everyone's just together and helping each other. And the Balinese, they have that. There is like that natural flow, like underlying current. I can feel it there. It's just like, wish I had more resources to put into that to make it actually something that's really truly sharing, like which it can be. And I'm confident like that it can be done fairly. And like at the moment in these cultures, you know, there's middle people that are kind of like taking a lot of money, and still people on the ground aren't really benefiting. Like, they're just still getting a shitty local wage, and there's a middle kind of class emerging, which, you know, basically capitalising on the low wages here and the high prices that people from overseas will pay. So this is really about sharing things out, getting equality at the base level, and where you come directly and you meet directly with the people that are of the place where you are being, happening, evolving something together, where we can actually work together and create stuff together. So, and also where kids with disabilities can be cared for. That actually comes in at stage 3. Like, I think the first 2 stages are really like setting up all, you know, farm agreements and farming, and just seeing like how things can work, and then going on to actually, you know, give training, you know, being able to have like a care facility. But yeah, the first and second stages like building little homestays, whether they're with people or on people's land. At like this little spot here, although this has been purchased, it's not really a true cooperative kind of venture. So yeah, and the main thing is that it's non-commercial. Like, it needs to be sustainable. Like, it will generate a life of its own. Like, it'll generate prosperity through what's being produced, through being able to offer services also to the public or to guests that aren't like members of the cooperative. So that would be at like a premium rate. It's the cat. It's having a scratch. But yeah, essentially it brings us to a more equal level so that everyone's cared for. All things are cared for. You know, it's improvements to the schools, so our kids can go to school there as well, or there's, you know, an extra classroom or something. And I already said that. Yeah, just enabling a place where we can co-create together at a level that's fair, forming an agreement where that's beneficial to everyone. So I hope that makes sense. When I sometimes listen back over these things, like sometimes like I can hear the logic going through it, or not logic, but like it makes sense to me, and then other times I listen to it, I'm like, what the hell am I talking about? Anyway, hopefully it'll all come a bit clearer in the bigger picture, and yeah, I hope I've made some sense with that, and I'll have some information and diagrams on the Friends of Freyr website, so it's friendsoffreyr.com, and if you click up on the menu, you'll see there's like a drop down menu. There's vision, collective, collective, co-contribution, and then yeah, a few different categories there. And I just outline different things. That's more about Revivement Village, like in terms of having care for kids with disabilities included in that. So not so much on the aged care, but yeah, on these videos I'm going to sort of overview things at a overall general level, and yeah, and then also hopefully give some examples of what I've been doing and working on, and where things are at up to this point. Have a great day.